Then we saw Operation Sindoor happened. And in Operation Sindoor, for the first time, we saw that what I call the one front integrated war, where the PLA supported the Pakistan military to the hilt with its non kinetic capabilities, other capabilities, without showing the hand. So we saw that. And immediately, what the Pakistanis have done is, after Sindoor, they have taken one big structural reform. And this is where I say this has happened because of their close interaction with the PLA. What they have done is that they have raised a Army Rocket Force Command, a Rocket Force Command under the Pakistan Army. And I said when this was created, in fact, I did a video. Now the concept of operational level of war has come alive. It has been established in the Pakistan military for two reasons. One, we saw the performance of the Pakistan Air Force where they displayed their multi-domain operations, which is at an operational level of war instead of doing dogfights. That they are confident that they have the capability. In case India does go to war, they can take on India. India has not been able to build the credible conventional capabilities, and they think that they match the Indians. And they've been proved because they have continued with the proxy war.
J-10C की ताकत का अंदाज़ा भी है। एयर चीफ साहब, अगर दोबारा पाकिस्तान से जंग हुई तो पाकिस्तान का J-35 हमारा क्या हशर करेगा। भारतीय तज्जिया नगार परवीन साहनी छा गए। अगर मुस्तकबिल में पाक भारत जंग होती तो पाकिस्तान को कैसे सुपरियोरिटी हासिल है, पाकिस्तान कैसे अपनी तैयारियां कर रहा है, जानिए भारतीय तज्जिया नगार परवीन साहनी से।
Relevant as far as the two great powers are concerned, which is Russia and China. Now I want to come to India and Pakistan because Pakistan has been mentioned by President Trump. Now let's understand this. You see, both India and Pakistan, I have said this repeatedly, they have similar doctrines. So they both had the concept, the American concept or the British concept, the NATO concept of tactics and strategy. That is all they had. So you either are doing strategy or you're doing tactics, and that is how they have fought the wars. For example, the first war was fought, the first war of Kashmir, where the Pakistani army realized that in terms of numbers, they were well short of the Indian army. So we know they used the irregulars in the first war. And after that, on 1st of January 1948, the ISI was created, and one of the key jobs of the ISI was to use the irregulars and make up the shortage of numbers against the Indian army. And then we know they did the nuclear test immediately after India's nuclear test in May 1998. And that was meant to maintain the balance at the strategic level of war. Now, as far as the numbers were concerned, now the numbers were matched. I call this the operational level of war. I don't think that in the Pakistani military literature they were using this word really. But what I believe in is that at the operational level of war, the Pakistanis were able to match the Indian military, and there are two evidence of that why I say this. The first is, in all the wars that they fought, 65 war, 71 war, the first military line which was created on 1st of January 1949, which was called the ceasefire line, that military line still exists on the ground. Which means that they matched at the operational level of war, which I say is the war winning at the campaign level. Which is why the Indian military was unable to obliterate that line, and only the name of the line changed. From ceasefire line after the 1971 war, it came to be called as the line of control. And the other reason is that since 1991, the Pakistan army has been doing proxy war in Jammu and Kashmir. And the reason for that is very simple, that they are confident that they have the capability. In case India does go to war, they can take on India. India has not been able to build the credible conventional capabilities, and they think that they match the Indians. And they've been proved because they have continued with the proxy war. Then we saw Operation Sindoor happened. And in Operation Sindoor, for the first time, we saw that what I call the one front integrated war, where the PLA supported the Pakistan military to the hilt with its non-kinetic capabilities, other capabilities, without showing the hand. So we saw that. And immediately what the Pakistanis have done is, after Sindoor, they have taken one big structural reform. And this is where I say this has happened because of their close interaction with the PLA. What they have done is that they have raised a Army Rocket Force Command, a rocket force command under the Pakistan Army. And I said, when this was created, in fact, I did a video on that. I said, now the concept of operational level of war has come alive. It has been established in the Pakistan military for two reasons. One, we saw the performance of the Pakistan Air Force, where they displayed their multi-domain operations, which is at an operational level of war instead of doing dogfights. And now they created this, they raised this. So I said both these entities, the Pakistan Air Force and the Pakistan Army Rocket Force Command, which will have their missiles, they'll be operating at the operational level of war. And that is the decisive level of war. And after a few weeks, in fact, after a few months, I heard an assessment or a lecture by one of their very prominent generals, Pakistan General, Lieutenant General Khalid Kidwai. Now, General Kidwai said very clearly that the Pakistan Army Rocket Force Command, it is creating a level between the conventional war and the nuclear war. And he said this army command will only have conventional missiles. So you see what I was talking about earlier, that you create a layer, you create a level in between, and that is the operational level of war. And that is so it has been, yeah, General Kidwai has confirmed that yes, this has been done. Now, along with that, we also know that they are looking at the possibility of having a deterrence, the sea-based deterrence. And we know that they have tested their SLBM Babar 3, and this was first tested in 2017, then it was tested in 2018, and now this is to be integrated with the Hangar submarines that they are getting from China. So they have done the test, but this is the test of what? This is the test of the, not a nuclear test has been done here, it is the test of Babar 3, a missile which will carry the nuclear warhead. Similarly, what the Russians have done and similarly what the Chinese have done. Nobody in my assessment has done the testing. But coming back to Pakistan, there is another reason. After Sindoor, as far as the world is concerned, they have assessed that the Pakistan military gave a good performance, and based on that, the geopolitical profile of Pakistan has risen substantially. So the point to make is, when China will support Pakistan to the hilt whenever Sindhu 2 happens, because China has consistently maintained that we will support the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Pakistan, which means as far as Pakistan is concerned in the conventional capabilities, I want the Indian side to think they will actually be more than a match with help from China against the Indian military. So they have no need really to do any further testing. Why should they do a nuclear testing? It doesn't make sense. And moreover, why must they jeopardize their risen geopolitical status by doing a nuclear test? And the Chinese will be unhappy, the Russians will be unhappy, and the Americans will be unhappy. And today, all the three great powers, they have good relations. Pakistan has good relations with all of the three. It will not jeopardize all this. Now, to coming back to the Trump point. So the point is, why has Trump spoken like this about nuclear testing? Now, you see, when he was talking this to the media about the testing in a very roundabout way, as far as his energy secretary is concerned, Chris Wright, he said very clearly that what has been ordered by President Trump is the system testing. That is what has been ordered. Nothing more than that. That means they want to work on their certain systems, the delivery systems, the propulsion systems. That has what been ordered. So why did Trump say all this? In my assessment, I can only think of one reason why he said that is because he is now interacting in his foreign policy with the other two great powers directly. which is China and Russia, he perhaps wanted to send a message back home to his domestic audience that, look, I am interacting with them from a position of strength by doing these testings, because they are also doing that testing, being ambiguous about what test is this. Is it a nuclear test or it is a systems test for the delivery of nuclear weapons? Now, in my next video, I will explain this concept further of operational level of war and how in the modern war it has changed, and why it is very important that the Indian military understand this operational level of war thoroughly.